Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a couple of quick updates for you guys about the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. First of all, Epstein's brother revealed something very damning for Donald Trump in a recent interview. Also, Epstein survivors have essentially provided proof that Epstein did not work alone. He had co-conspirators. Man, we've all pretty much known this, but this really tells you that we're correct for a fact, and I'm going to explain. So first, take a listen to this. This is what Mark Epstein had to say. He was on CNN recently. First, you're going to hear something from Trump, and then you will hear Mark Epstein's response. So take a listen.
I've spoken to him in probably 15 years or more. I wasn't a big fan of Jeffrey Epstein, that I can tell you. I had no idea. I haven't spoken to him in many, many years.
That was in 2019. But you say your brother talked to you about a conversation he had very close to this time in 2016 with Trump?
Well, I used to speak to Jeffrey regularly, and one of the calls he spoke, Jeffrey told me that Trump, it was after the election that Trump called him, and it was sort of like, can you believe this? Because nobody believed Trump was going to win. Trump was sort of surprised himself that he won. So Jeffrey said he called him like, could you believe this type of a phone call?
So Trump called your brother?
Yes, that's what Jeffrey told me.
So obviously, could he be lying? Could Epstein have been lying about Trump calling him after he won the 2016 election? Absolutely. Could have been, but why? Right? Ask yourself, why would Jeffrey Epstein lie to his brother? There's no reason for it. There was no reason to make this up. And then you have on top of that all of the other stuff that I've shared with you guys about them supposedly spending Thanksgiving together on in I think it was November of 2017, so just the year after Trump won. Jeffrey Epstein messaging someone else saying that he was at Trump Tower after Donald Trump won the election. I mean, there was nothing going on at that time that Jeffrey Epstein would have needed to make this stuff up. So, common sense tells you he was telling the truth to these people. He had no reason to lie to them. So, once again, we have more evidence that Donald Trump kept in contact with Epstein not only after he claims he kicked him out of his club, but after Epstein was sentenced in 2008 to that slap on the wrist, long after Trump claims that he cut ties with this child predator, through the first presidency. I mean, and think about that. Why would Trump call Epstein after his shock win in 2016 unless they had been in contact all along? Right? Why, of all people, after you become the president of the United States, arguably the most powerful person on earth, at that moment, why would you think to call a child predator? Why would you all of a sudden, out of the blue, if they hadn't been in contact that whole time, if they hadn't been still maintaining some sort of relationship, why would it pop into his head to call him? Right? So it tells me that, yes, they were in contact that entire time, that they never fell out of contact completely. So I'm sure Trump will deny this, but, there's an easy way for us to find out. There's an easy way for us to figure out who's telling the truth. Release all of your records. Release all of Epstein and Donald Trump's phone records. Let's see. Let's see if there was an incoming call to Jeffrey Epstein's phone. Right? It wasn't that long ago. Those records would still exist. It hasn't even been 10 years. Anyway, if I was Trump, I would do it. I would want to clear my name, wouldn't you? We all know he won't, though. We know why. I also wanted to share this with you guys. So Epstein survivors drafted a letter, and they are saying that they've been receiving death threats since the lawmakers and other people started pushing for the release of the Epstein files. This, to me, is the whole ballgame. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt there are other people who were involved in the Epstein case and involved in the Epstein trafficking, and that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are lying through their teeth, right? Because the only people who wouldn't want these files to see the light of day and who would go and threaten these women are guilty people. The vast majority of human beings on the entire planet want to know the truth. They want all of this released, regardless of who's implicated in these documents and these videos. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a hardcore progressive Democrat that I love and that I support. If they did something like this, I want to know, and they should hang for it. Right? Only other child predators or their accomplices, people who remained silent and knew what was going on, they are the only ones who would be trying to shut this down and shut up the victims. So that to me just proves why we have to keep going with this. You know, there's so many people out there going, oh, well, Epstein's dead. This whole thing is over. No. Especially, number one, especially if he was in bed with Israel, as it appears he was. If what we're believing and seeing is the case, that he was doing these things, recording world leaders and the most powerful people on the planet doing things, horrific things with children, then we need to know that, because that will still be going on. It's not like they went, oh, well, Epstein's dead. I guess we're not going to, have compromise on all of these people anymore. And we're just going to let them go about their business. And we're not going to try to pull the strings and hold this over their heads and get them to do our bidding. So we need to know it for that reason. We also need to know it because there are new victims. Right? And the people who did this to these children need to be held accountable. It cannot stand that because you are wealthy, because you are famous or powerful, that you get to do whatever the hell you want to children. What message does that send? Sorry, no. These people need to fry for what they did. Those women who were girls at the time, they are living a life sentence. This will never leave them. This has changed them and their lives in ways that the rest of us cannot possibly fathom. So no, these fuckers need to pay. So anyway, guys, I will let you know when I have more information. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.